In the shadowy depths of the whispering pines, a lone wolf named Kale trudged through the snow, his silver fur matted with mud. Once, he had been a proud alpha, his pack trailing behind him like shadows under the moonlight. But now, he was just a ghost of his former self, his golden eyes clouded with sorrow. The betrayal haunted him like a winter chill that never left. His own brother, Dorian, had allied with a rival pack, turning the family Kale had fought to protect into strangers. That fateful night, under the blood-red moon, Kale had been cast out after a vicious fight, left limping and scarred, both inside and out. One evening, as the snowstorm raged, Kale sought shelter in a hollowed-out tree. The wind howled like a pack of wolves mocking him. His stomach growled, but the forest offered little, just the occasional carcass left behind by scavengers. He curled up, his breath visible in the icy air, and closed his eyes, dreaming of a time when he had not been alone. A faint whimper pierced the storm. Kale's ears perked up, and he followed the sound. Deep in a thicket, he found a tiny fox cub tangled in a hunter's cruel snare. Its russet fur was soaked, and its green eyes were wide with terror. For a moment, Kale froze. He had his own wounds to nurse, why should he care for another? But as he stared at the cub, something stirred in him. He remembered the night he was betrayed, the moment he had begged his brother for mercy and received none. With a growl, Kale bit through the snare, freeing the cub. The little fox staggered, then looked up at Kale with a mixture of fear and gratitude. "Go," Kale grunted, turning to leave. But the cub followed him, its tiny paws sinking into the snow as it trailed behind. Kale huffed, his breath steaming in the cold air. "I don't need a shadow," he muttered, but the cub didn't listen. Over the next few days, the cub whom Kale begrudgingly named Finn proved stubbornly loyal. When Kale scavenged scraps, Finn shared them without complaint. When Kale rested, Finn curled up beside him, his tiny warmth chasing away the bitter cold. As the weeks passed, the forest seemed to brighten. Finn's playful energy brought life to the quiet woods. He'd pounce on falling leaves, yip at fireflies, and nudge Kale when he seemed lost in thought. One evening, the distant howls of Kale's old pack carried through the air. He froze, his heart pounding. The urge to face them, to demand answers, to take revenge burned inside him. Finn tugged at his tail, yipping softly, as if to say, "Don't go." Kale looked down at the little fox, who had given him a purpose again. Slowly, the fire in his chest